1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business in the vote on adoption of House Resolution 888.
All right. It is 9 o'clock on this Tony P. Tuesday, as we like to call it, on
Yes.
the Do You Like It or Not show, that other show that
I
we
know,
do.
long rundown.
This, though, is the Live Zone Primetime. Thank you so
This is
much
the
for
big one.
joining us, whether you're watching on Fox 5 DC's YouTube page or you're watching us right now on Fox Local. A rainy Tuesday night.
I know, and
here
it's
in
cold.
the DMV. A rainy and cold.
Oh, and I have the wool
Tuesday
jacket.
night.
Not the best idea for cold and rainy
Yeah,
because you
not
can start
the-
to smell it. It's no good.
Yeah, I will say,
depressing.
if you are sitting at home and it is cold and it is rainy, I am promising you, fingers crossed, everything goes according to plan.
Okay.
We're going to take a little trip down to Miami a little
Oh,
later.
that's right,
this
we are.
hour. We're going to take a little trip down to Miami where things are hopefully a little
I know they're a lot bigger,
warmer,
a lot
at
better.
least. They better be, because
Everything's bigger in Miami too.
everything's bigger in Miami.
It is.
The U.
The
as
U.
they
It's all
call
about
it,
the
right?
U.
Isn't that
I'll
what they
take.
call it?
They had a great 30 for 30 documentary about the U in the Jimmy Johnson era and Michael Irvin, and you had just so many great teams. And then he went to the Cowboys and did the same exact
There used
thing.
to be a famous football game between Notre Dame and Miami,
Oh,
and they called it by a
yes.
different name.
Yes.
I believe that was the opening game
Not a
this
very good
season
one.
as well. It did not go well for Notre Dame.
No.
All right, Tony P. If it's live and it's happening now, we bring it to you. You know those are the rules. And right
yes.
now, the House still at work tonight. The last I checked, they were working on something to do with land management You see another
Right.
vote underway right now, 3.5 minutes, but that is not what we are going to start
it's
with
not.
tonight. We are
A
going
lot
to
of
talk
votes
with
today.
the other big story that happened on Capitol Hill, and that was the Epstein files, because that is what everyone has been talking about today with what went down on Capitol Hill. Let me get my banner here. There we go. This is video from earlier. I know it looks exactly like the live
It does. It's the
picture
same
we
camera.
just showed you. Exactly. However, take a look at the numbers on this one. 425 to 1. It's rare we're going to see a vote nearly 426, 427. You see it going
Right.
up after months of fighting over how to handle questions about the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The House and Senate have acted swiftly to force the release of all the Justice Department's documents. The House vote, which is what you're looking at right there, that happened earlier this afternoon. And in an overwhelming show of support, the bill passed 427 to 1. Only one person voted against it, that lone dissent coming from Louisiana Republican, staunch supporter of President Trump, Clay Higgins. In the meantime, the bill was supposed to head to the Senate for a vote, but in a rare move, the chamber fast-tracked it and agreed to unanimously approve it without a formal vote. So that means the bill now will go to President Trump's desk. He has reversed course recently. We talked about this last night. He says he will sign it. Once he does, the DOJ will have 30 days to release all files and communications related to the disgraced financier and his death in prison. The DOJ will be able to redact information about Epstein's victims or any ongoing investigations. Now, the bill's remarkably swift passage comes after a years-long fight to release more information, along with the names of powerful people worldwide who either took part in, covered up, or turned a blind eye to Epstein's crimes. President Trump and other Republican leaders spent months opposing this move. That fight has at times divided, the president's base. Tony P., I'm sure for a lot of people, after sitting there and watching a 43-day shutdown, after watching them battle this out for years and then months and everything that happened, for now in one day, both chambers to get this done, and in such overwhelming bipartisan fashion. Talk to me about what you make of this.
I think a ton of people that look at government and say it doesn't work for us, it's always slow, it protects the rich and powerful. This may be a sigh of relief for them today because they passed this basically unanimously across the board, and the Senate, which never acts quickly on anything, did it basically a unanimous consent vote, no amendments. There was a lot of fear throughout the House of Representatives, including Thomas Massey, one of the major sponsors of the discharge petition. He cautioned the Senate from amending this or changing some of the disclosure rules that would come out from the release of the files. They didn't do that, obviously, and here we are. I first want to really get us back to the reason why this is happening is because of these brave survivors.
Right.
And victims that came forward.
Some of whom we heard from before the vote today.
And they spoke early this morning in front of the Capitol building. A lot of those survivors actually were supporters of President Trump, voted for him, and called him out directly, with Marjorie Taylor Greene and others standing right beside them, about the change in opinion, how he fought it for so long. After talking about it on the campaign trail, they felt betrayed in a lot of ways. But with this change of heart from the president and this swift vote, this is a big victory for the victims and the survivors of this monster Jeffrey Epstein that has just been a part of American culture, sadly, for nearly 10 years with all of this. And so I look at about centering the victims and the people that have been impacted directly by this, because the problem with a story like this is that people start to get into it on podcasts and comedy shows and news programs, and we get the political angle, and people fight each other back and forth about the files. What does it mean? Which side is getting outed here? This is about people that have had their lives ruined by this man, by this network of people that committed these horrendous acts of violence and abuse upon these young women, and tragically destroyed their lives. And I think so. I want to center those individuals tonight who have gone through this, who had their voices blocked and silenced when they first came forward. They had to come forward so many times to retell their story and relive their trauma, and finally we're here. And maybe we'll get some closure. We'll learn about some new investigations that are coming out potentially from these file releases. Are there going to be names that are out there, not just the people that may have been involved, but who knew about it and said nothing? That's
Right.
a big thing that I want to talk about a little bit. Is the people like Larry Summers that have said that they're stepping back. We heard yesterday, Larry Summers, a professor and president emeritus at Harvard, who was in the Clinton administration as the Treasury Secretary and Deputy Secretary, had a long career in government and politics, is stepping aside from public engagements in the public eye because he was ashamed for being involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Basically, somewhat looks like he's saying, I made a mistake in associating with him when he did all these things.
Some of his name and some of those emails
Right,
that came out recently.
and others. I mean, many officials. So this is the thing: is like who knew, and who said nothing? Because this is how these things go on for years and years, Chris.
Yeah.
And I just hope we can take this file release and learn from where the issues were with law enforcement, where the issues were with people not coming forward and protecting these young women when they needed it most. Because this can never happen again. So my heart's with the victims and their families and the survivors and those who couldn't be here today to be a part of this. Just my heart goes to them, and also to the people that defended them all these years, that helped these victims tell their story, the lawyers, whether it be down in Florida or some of the law enforcement in Palm Beach. God bless them as well today.
But Tony, before we move on, let me just ask. After months of claiming a hoax, we've talked about, the influencers standing outside of the White House with their binders
Right.
about the Epstein files, all of it. Why now? What changed that in one day, less than one day, almost every single member of Congress was able to come together and push this through? Now, once the president signs it, 30 days we'll have for the Department of Justice will have 30 days to kind of do what they need to do, whether it's redacting names, et cetera, before we might see those files. But now why so suddenly does it feel like this was able to happen?
Well, the president's coalition is a lot different than it was in 2016 and 2020. You have a lot of young men that are part of this coalition that really got to know President Trump through podcasts like the Tim Dillon Show, for example, Joe Rogan, Andrew Schultz in the Flagrant podcast, where this was a major topic they pressed then candidate Trump on, and then have kept bringing up over the years this subject because it highlights the conspiratorial nature of some of his voters, some of the newer voters, younger voters like me. And again, I'm not saying I didn't vote for the president,
I understand what
but
you're
I voted for the president. But people like me that look like me, they really thought the president would really take care of this
So
day
basically,
one.
the support shift.
It changed, and it's more fragile.
Yeah.
And the thing is, younger voters and voters in general now move differently, and they move a lot quicker on how they view presidents, politicians. You know why? Because of independent media and streaming and local and regional broadcast. They're no longer getting it from 3 networks. They're getting it from everywhere. They're getting a lot of different things in their feeds. And their opinions can shift, and the president saw that his support was waning
Well, we saw
among
a lot
that
of
base.
burning "Make America Great Again" hats,
Right,
on
because
social
of
media
this.
over the weekend. So
Because it gets to the two-tier justice
right.
system that a lot of these folks were talking about and voted on, where the rich and powerful get it one way, and the rest of us get it the other. This hit at the heart of it. This was tangible. You could see it. And the president saw that and changed course. Now, here's the thing. The question is, what does that redaction process look like? Because now this is unconfirmed. People magazine just reported this about an hour ago, where Jeffrey Epstein's brother Mark Epstein has been saying to confidants and others that he has heard, again, this is a lot of, again, it's not, when I'm saying this is true, we can confirm it, but Mark Epstein has said he is hearing that a lot of Republican names are being scrubbed potentially in these 30 days. So we don't know that.
yeah.
That's just Mark Epstein.
Useless.
Again, it's a brother, but it's just one thing that you could start to see be a conversation if this thing goes, to the 30 days totally, and then if we go into post 30 days into the new year, and if there are certain redactions and things get leaked, because the Justice Department, we've seen some leaks this year with FBI Director Kash Patel and others, so this is not going to be a totally tight ship operation potentially.
All right. Well, Useless. Let me double check this name to make sure I get it right. Useless Rocket on our YouTube chat says, "Let the games begin." We'll have much more on this story, obviously, coming up as it develops. In the meantime, Tony, let's move on. Let's
Yes,
talk about
absolutely.
what you are watching on this Tuesday evening.
On the Tuesday, Tony P Tuesday rundown, whatever we're calling it now. At the White House today, President Trump hosted Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in a meeting that drew strong criticism. Human rights groups and lawmakers pressed the administration about Saudi Arabia's role in the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi and civilian casualties in regional conflicts. The White House defended the visit as essential to securing oil stability, rebuilding alliances, and advancing the ceasefire efforts and stabilization in Gaza. In the education world today, the Trump administration announced a major overhaul of the Department of Education. Key federal grant programs for K-12 and higher education will be transferred to agencies such as the Labor, Health and Human Services, and Interior departments. The administration says the restructuring will reduce bureaucracy and push more money into the classrooms. Critics warn, though, that changes could dilute protections for students and create confusion among things like federal student aid for colleges. Overseas tonight, according to Axios, the U.S. has drafted a new 28-point plan aimed at ending the war in Ukraine. The proposal includes a phased ceasefire, security guarantees, reconstruction funding, and a potential multinational force. While U.S. officials have briefed European allies, Ukraine has not publicly backed the draft, and many hurdles remain before any agreement can move forward at this point. In Congress, House Democrats are seeking to revive a censure resolution against Representative Corey Mills after he shared an image of President Biden bound and at gunpoint. Supporters argue that this image normalized political violence and demands a strong formal rebuke. This happened last year. It's being brought up again in this new year. Republican leaders call the measure symbolic, but the effort underscores rising tensions in the chamber, even though we saw a major bipartisan moment today with the 427-1 vote. Back here in the U.S., President Trump is also backing legislation to block states from passing their own artificial AI intelligence laws for a 10-year period. The aim is to create a single national standard and avoid what the administration calls a confusing regulatory patchwork. Critics argue it removes state-level protections around data privacy, algorithmic fairness, and consumer rights. In the art world tonight, Gustav Klimt's portrait of Elizabeth Lederer sold for $236.4 million at Sotheby's in New York today, a new record for the most expensive modern artwork ever sold. Most folks aren't even worth that much money. The auction lasted more than 20 minutes and ended with a phone bid from an anonymous buyer. I'd love to know who that was. Turning to the business world, the CEO of Polymarket called traditional sports books a scam today, arguing that high fees, tight limits, and banned winners leave little chance for the average bettor to succeed. He's promoting prediction markets as a more transparent alternative. The regulators say the platforms may still fall under gambling laws in many states. Also, tech giant Meta secured a major legal win today. A federal judge ruled the company is not an illegal monopoly and rejected the U.S. government's attempt to force it to spin off Instagram and WhatsApp. The ruling lifts immediate breakup pressure, though regulators say they will continue monitoring large tech practices. In the entertainment world, Entertainment Tonight reports that singer Ariana Grande is surprising fans by directing and starring in her own action thriller released this summer. On the red carpet, she said the movie flips everything you need to know about me, and she's been training in stunts for months now. Also, on the social media front, you may see a surge in two trending formats. One is the Give It To Me trend, where creators use a voiceover repeating Give It To Me, pausing just before a visual payoff, like a new haircut, pet reveal, or travel clip. The edits are sharp, energetic, and designed to hit the beat. The other trend is It Doesn't Take Much to Make Me Happy, featuring quiet, simple moments like coffee on a balcony and a walk in golden light. And finally tonight, an uplifting story from Southern California. In Hesperia, a new master plan community of more than 1,500 families is being called America's nicest neighborhood, like Mr. Rogers, because every resident signed a kindness pledge. They agreed to look out for neighbors, bring meals when needed, and create a culture of care. Psychologists say community-wide acts of kindness improve health, reduce isolation, and build resilience around the country and in the community.
We could all use a little more kindness in this
Sorry,
world.
a lot
Let's
of stuff
be serious.
there.
Let's be serious. We could all use a little more kindness out
Yes,
there.
Mr. Rogers, a big one there.
Yeah,
Again,
all right.
We have the helpers in America. We need them.
Well, that's what Tony P was watching. What I'm watching is the raindrops out on this live picture from the White House tonight. A chilly night here across the DMV. We're going to heat things up, though, when we come back, because we are heading down to Miami, where we are going to talk to a student and former Fox 5 intern all about this recent Washington Post article declaring the University of Miami the home to influencer royalty. We'll take a 2-minute break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Do You Nah? Oh, Tony P.
I almost did it.
I do it every night.
I nailed it.
It is 9:18, and that means Do You Like It or Not is over. It is time for the Live Zone Primetime. And what you are looking at right now is a headline from the Washington Post last week, and this is a subject Tony P. knows all about. We are talking about being a social media influencer. But Tony, your social media fame came after college.
It sure did.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
but
very
that's
much so after
not
college.
the case for everybody. You may have seen this story in the Post last week. Like I said, it's about the so-called turf war taking place at the University of Miami, a school that has embraced influencer culture and can claim a long list of ultra-viral alumni. It's where Alex Earl, who you can currently catch on Dancing with the Stars, became one of the biggest influencers in the world. But a student newspaper article last month caused some drama. We are talking about the battle between popular micro-influencers on campus that led to what is called a digital slap fight between students. It made nationwide headlines, hundreds of thousands of views, and even an intervention from the Dean of Students. You can read the whole story in the Washington Post, but we wanted to get more information about that. So joining us now live from Miami is University of Miami student and former Fox 5 intern Lauren Harrington. Thanks for joining us here on, if I get the name correct,
Yes.
the Live Zone Primetime.
We're doing that show, right?
There we go. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
It's
I'm
so good to
excited
see you,
be back.
Lauren.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you guys.
Oh my God.
It's been
it's
too
awesome.
long. Thank you so much for joining us.
So yeah, it's down here in Miami. There's definitely a little bit of that influencer drama.
Oh yeah.
A little bit of that. Everyone's an influencer, but I'm so excited to talk a little bit more about that today.
Lauren, first and foremost, is it at least warm down there? Because it's like,
Please.
I don't even know, 49 degrees here or something?
It's definitely warm. I was able to walk to class without a sweatshirt or anything. It's definitely warm down here, especially at night too.
Oh
All
my
right,
God.
well, we're living
No.
vicariously through you.
And it's an hour better with the sunlight because it's the way the time zones are down there. I just love how it's an hour sunnier down there. My goodness.
Definitely, yeah, it's the best. It's the best. But
completely.
I'm coming home for break soon, so I will catch the cold.
Yes, you
Yeah,
will.
but-
exactly.
We both
Yeah.
will.
Lauren, I'm gonna start off by showing this is your TikTok account, 39,000
Yes.
followers, 7.6 million likes. Growing a following, was that something you chose to do before you even went to college? Was it something you do once you got down there and kind of saw what the culture was like?
Well, the thing about just TikTok in general, I've always loved the idea of content creation and posting what I'm doing, especially with broadcast or even just my friends or even just being a Miami student in general. Here at Miami, it is a huge culture to be posting about what you're doing every single day. I mean, there's things going on all the time. It's sunny all the time. You can go out all the time. You can do your work during the day and then go out at night and still manage to do both. And so when I came to Miami, I knew that I wanted to be posting what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. I just didn't expect for so much of my content to end up doing well. And I think that it's the idea of just going to Miami or just even saying the word "you Miami" on a post does numbers. It's crazy. It has such an impact.
Do you think that there's an expectation when you get to campus? Again, we've had Alex Earl be very successful. Again, the content business is huge in Miami. Is there a pressure that you feel among first-year students or even upperclassmen as they go in to really create this footage, whether they be in sports or lifestyle or broadcasting?
There's definitely a little bit of pressure. I feel like living in Miami, everyone's trying to, show what you're doing, show off a little bit. It's the kind of culture that it is. I think just being a broadcast student in general, I do want to build a personal platform online, whether it's just me enjoying school or just me posting my broadcast online. And so sometimes I do beat myself up a little bit because I'll post a video and it won't do as well. And then I'll see another student that also posted a video and it did do as well. But it's definitely the kind of culture where you're always posting what you're doing, and just it's that kind of, it's really what it is down here.
So on that same note, so kind of leaning into that idea of the competition, is it competition to try to get to the next level, to get a brand deal, to get a sponsorship, to make money? And also at the same time, how often are you filming and posting, and do you ever worry about the line between oversharing?
So it is just Miami in general. It is competitive. It's naturally competitive. Everyone wants, the best thing. Everyone wants to be at the best place. Everyone wants to be posting what they're doing on a Saturday, And so naturally it's very competitive. And I think that I have engraved that mentality a little bit in my mind. Like, I try to post as much as possible, but I feel like when I see someone else, if they're posting more than me, I think to myself, oh no, like I missed out the opportunity of posting this great thing and it didn't do as well. But really, it is that competitive nature down here. It's just how you handle it and how you post online. As of posting day to day, I try to post at least like once every 2 days. I'm trying to get better at posting more every single day, but being a broadcast student and trying to balance school while also creating content at the same time can be a little bit overwhelming. And so I'm hoping that next semester I get to dive in a little bit more into exploring content creation as much as I enjoy exploring broadcast, because it's very time consuming. Tony, you understand.
It is. All the things you're talking about are things that I go through now, because again, I did it after college. And I was, 3 years into corporate, and now influencing brought me to broadcasting and rediscovered the dream. I wish I was doing what you were doing in college. I should have done that, and you're inspirational to me watching you do this journey. But let me ask you this. So when you talk about the competition nature of this, what do you think this turf war is really looking like on the ground? The Washington Post covered it a little bit, but what does that look like on a daily basis between students or influencers, if they want to, if they're labeling themselves that overall? What is that turf war looking like, and is it having an impact on the mental health of the community or the ability to learn and grow together in the classroom, or is it more just an outside thing?
Well, there was that drama that did happen. There actually was a turf war where one micro-influencer came out and was like, I'm a little bit upset that that she was like I'm a little bit upset that my content isn't being as appreciated as much as other influencers at the University of Miami. There was an article that came out by the Miami Hurricane that really showcased 3 influencers that are gaining a lot of popularity at school and that have the most following. And it didn't really show the micro-influencers as much as possible. I mean, they had it inside the newspaper, but they weren't the front page cover. And I'm sure that, like, for her, it was obviously upsetting because she feels like she put so much time and effort into her posts. Yeah, and that's one of the biggest influencers at our school, Nikki Pindor. She's the one who has the most followings. And I guess it's just like that's where the competitive side comes out, because it's like, I guess everyone's trying as hard to post all this content, but some people aren't being appreciated as much as possible while others are. But it really comes down to the idea of like, you post, like what you're posting is like, everyone can post, but it's the quality of what you're posting. Right. And so a micro-influencer can post one simple thing, but not have as much quality as that one macro influencer that we just saw, Nikki Pindor, who is posting a lot of quality things that is gaining a lot of following. And so it really comes just down to what you're posting and the quality of what you're posting online. And that's what gains a lot of traction.
Absolutely. Listen, we both know this. Again, even with following of my side, something that doesn't work out, the algorithm punishes it. And again, like it's a different algorithm than it was even when I started out. So, and again, that turf was very, very fascinating because it does seem surface level, but this is how a lot of our generations are making money now.
Right. It is defeating. I mean, sometimes I'll work so hard on this one video. I'll spend 30 minutes of posting what I did this weekend at Miami, hoping that it gets, the traction that I want it to get. And then it doesn't do well. And then you think to yourself the next day, like, oh, maybe I could have done this better. Oh, maybe I should stop posting. But the reality is that, especially here at Miami, if you are posting just even the words "you Miami," it'll immediately gain so many more likes, or even it immediately attracts a whole different just like audience of people. It's crazy. I even was talking to my friends a little bit because they were like, Lauren, like, what can I do how do you think I can make one post do well or whatever, just like advice. And I was like, literally said, just saying the words "you Miami" on a post has the potential of gaining a whole different audience and just a lot more traction.
And again, the biggest thing I've learned, the biggest thing is when you're one post away. That happens. That's so true.
Definitely. It happens all the time. You can just be one post away from that one viral video,
Yep.
or just even one post away from making it big. I mean, you look at someone like Alex Earl, and she posted that one thing about her suffering with a lot of just she wasn't really happy with her skin, and she came out about that, and she was really authentic about that. And when she was authentic, that's when she noticed that she started gaining more of a following.
So Lauren, two quick questions. One, how is this kind of incorporated into the actual curriculum / campus life? And two, what is it? I mean, do people walk around and they're like celebrities on campus where like you whisper and you're like, oh my gosh, that's whoever, because I saw them on TikTok? The way like kind of athletes used to rule the roost a little bit. Now is it these influencers?
It's definitely, I mean, at least for a lot of the people that I'm close to, or even just like the girls I'm close to, sometimes the guys too, I think that these influencers are they really are taking over. Like the other day, I saw one of the influencers that was posted on the Miami hurricane, which is Nikki Pindor actually, and I saw her walking, and I go to my friend and I'm like, oh my gosh, did you see, like, that's her, that's her, that's her. Or then you'll see like another football player who's like a really well-known football player, like out in like at a college event or something like that. And at least for me, it's just, I'm just like, oh, okay. But you'll see these influencers, and I guess a lot of people are very inspired by them because everyone's posting and everyone wants to be gaining this following and this sort of traction. So yeah, there's definitely that environment here at Miami that you'll be walking, you'll see an influencer, and you'll just be like, oh my gosh.
Last but not least, I do just need to, full disclosure, Lauren, for anyone out there watching, they can either blame or credit Lauren because she is the intern at Fox 5 who taught me how to use TikTok and social media to begin with.
I love it.
So if my face pops up in anyone out there's feed, that's who to blame right there.
Oh my goodness.
On
You
our
gotta put on a
screen
spot
right
like
now.
that.
I see your TikToks and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're doing like incredible. I see them all the time and I get so excited because I'm just like, you're doing amazing on social media. You too, Tony. I'm keeping up with you all the time.
You are the best. Listen, I need a little help on TikTok because my following's dragging a little bit. So any advice you have for me, let me know.
She is the
I will.
expert.
I definitely
Maybe I should
will.
put you
Hopefully I get
Miami
to come
down
back
it.
to Fox 5. Yeah.
I'll
No,
add Tony
yeah.
P in
Maybe
Miami.
you can say you Miami at Fox. I don't know.
Right,
Fox
it was the
5.
whole title. We'll just put it in there for SEO.
That's right.
Exactly. There we go.
Lauren, thank you so much for spending a little time with us here on Live Zone Primetime. Good luck with the rest of the semester.
Yes.
Have a happy holiday season. If you're back, you know you always have a home here at Fox 5.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
All
Good luck.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are talking to the guys behind the new Fox Nation docuseries Scammed, all about some of the most popular online scams out there, how not to fall for them, what you can do to protect yourself, and how they are helping people get even. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much, guys.
He started to get very angry.
Pay now or you're going to jail.
My anxiety.
How much did he get from you?
$53,000.
Over $500,000.
That's a life-ruining amount of money.
Yeah.
Scams that we come across tear people apart.
He knows my home address, my phone number.
What we do is get into direct communication with a scammer.
Whoa.
Baiting scammers into a trap.
Click the link.
Will unearth an entire network of deception.
And confront those responsible.
We're looking for Jeffrey.
Are you Jeffrey? This scammer clicked it 5 times.
I'm waiting. Hurry up.
This is where she's supposed to wire $20,000.
Oh, wow. We might need to go to Czech Republic.
I'm coming too.
Can we go? You need to stop at the freaking cologne store?
Yeah. Let's go.
Let's go.
$2 million.
Yeah.
It shows how relentless these scammers are.
What's better than a little slice of revenge?
Scammed, Getting Even. Streaming now on Fox Nation. Sign up at foxnation.com.
Also on Fox 1, that's a clip from the new Fox Nation original series, Scammed, Getting Even. The show follows Trilogy Media co-founders Ashton Bingham and Art Kulik as they track down scammers across the world, help victims fight back and recover, reveal how these massive scam networks operate, and best of all, deliver some justice. A new episode drops tomorrow night. First, though, fresh from the cologne store, Ashton and Art join us now live. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Stand by. Let me make sure we can hear you. Can you get? I think we can hear you now.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes, can hear you now. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
The cologne's in the air too. We can hear.
Yeah,
we can
that's
sense
right.
the cologne.
This is a full.
I literally was laughing right now because of that line, and I was like hitting my business partner under the table,
Right.
and he was like, "Yeah, that's your cologne store."
I'm so glad they used that.
That's a great line. I love it.
Absolutely. But look, I'll start there. To be honest with you, you guys are tackling a really serious subject. You are really doing important work, but you're also mixing humor into it. Can you talk to me just a little bit about how those two dynamics kind of play against each other?
We have to, honestly. The kinds of things that we get into on our channel and with this show can be very dark and be very emotionally, hard to deal with, especially when you're dealing with victims and real life repercussions of these scams. We have to inject humor into it, otherwise we'll drive ourselves crazy. We've been doing this now for 10 years.
Can educate Americans on a national television how not to get scammed. We, like in Practical Jokers, we put a lot of humor, and also, there is justice, there is education. So everything that you see, it's dialed down by 5 or 10, 20%. So there is more.
Wow. Now let me ask you this. So what are the 1 or 2 things that you have seen through all your cases throughout the years on streaming and social media that are the main 2 things or 3 things that people really, that they have when they get scammed? Like, what are those 3 defining factors that people have when they get scammed, and how can people prevent those things from happening to them?
Well, one of the thing that we see in almost every type of scam, and again, there's a million different kinds of scams and the ways they operate, but almost every single time a scammer will play on one of 2 things, either somebody's hopes or somebody's fears. And a really good scam will play on them both. So whether it's them promising you life-changing financial winnings, or a deal that's too good to be true, or literally, threatening you with arrest, or threatening you with whatever it might be, extortion, or whatever it is. So scammers will want to pressure you into acting fast to either avoid the fear or to take advantage of the hope. And that can manifest itself in endless amounts of ways, especially around the holidays with shopping and getting a good deal and wanting to, provide for your family. So never let anyone pressure you into anything is probably the best blanket advice I could give. And never trust that anyone is calling or reaching out to you from who they say they're reaching out to you from. Do your own independent research. If it's a phone number, hang up and call it back, that kind of thing.
And especially Black Friday is coming, right? Thanksgiving, Black Friday. When you see there is unsolicited email comes to you, especially from Amazon, and says, "Hey, you just got Roomba," or we were live streaming today, and there is a brand new email from Amazon. You just bought Roomba with so many different gadgets and blah blah blah, and there is a number on the bottom to call. never call that number. That's how you're going to get trapped. That's how you're going to get scammed. So always call Amazon.com, always or flip your credit card and call the number on your credit card, not the number that's been provided by Bank of America.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, with text messaging too, we've reported on numerous examples, whether it's you getting told you have a ticket or a toll fine type of a thing. Guys, we talk about AI almost every night on this show. How is AI making your jobs more difficult, but also at the same time, are you able to utilize it to help in the fight for justice?
100%. I mean, any new innovation or any tool that's useful for good can also be used for bad, and we've seen that, a million times over. AI is no exception. It's getting harder for people to spot. Where you used to be able to maybe rely on, bad grammar to spot a scam email. Now they're using ChatGPT to write their emails, and it sounds very real, and they're very good at impersonating who they're trying to impersonate. But yes, to an extent, we can use it back at them. We can automate some things. We can, use generative AI sometimes to, help us portray the part of a victim, which is essentially what scam baiting is. So yeah, AI is not going anywhere, and people need to be extra vigilant, extra careful, and making sure that they're, not just trusting who somebody is just because of what they say over the phone. You need to have a password amongst your family and your close friends that only they know. So you know who you're talking to, because you can't even trust your caller ID anymore.
And I think the most important part nowadays is when young generation educating your parents and grandparents. And if, again, you can be right now in Mexico in jail, and, all these family members gonna call to you and gonna say hey, you need bail money, which is happened to you. Set up the password, ask the questions.
Wasn't in jail in Mexico, just for the record. It was
what happened to you, right?
What a scam! What a scammer said to my grandmother. Thanks for wording that nicely for me.
Awesome. So it's okay, so if you're my mom or grandma, so which school did I go to? What is the name of my closest friend? What kind of dogs do we have? You have to always expect that somebody's trying to take advantage of you.
And when you look at this whole process of how you came online and developed this idea, what was the thought process behind putting together the format of show that you built on social media, now into streaming? And what were the considerations you made in crafting it the way that you did, adding humor into it, adding the real confrontational moments? What was the justification behind that to get the word out about this incredibly important thing in the world?
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, our desire to entertain has been around since long before we ever did scam baiting. Him and I knew each other back when we first moved to LA 15, 16 years ago to pursue a career in something that
filmmaking
we could control and we can produce, and that we could, use it to entertain people. Scam baiting kind of entered our ether on accident in 2016 with a viral video that I made kind of truthfully on accident. And it just, it grew. We started with just wasting scammers' time over the phone. And then, you discover the presence of local accomplices. You always think of scams being so far away in call centers across the planet, but you don't really realize that actually, no, there's a lot of people here locally in the States that are helping to facilitate it. Well, no one else is confronting them. Let's do it. And so it kind of took its own form then when we started getting boots on the ground and investigating. We don't take the whole hacking technical side of it like a lot of other scam baiters do, and that they do great work, but we wanted to do something different. So we hit the ground running while still staying true to who we are. And then Fox came along, and they were they said yes when a million others said no, and gave us an opportunity on a national level to educate people and bring more awareness to scams. And we couldn't be more grateful.
And as you know, there is a demographic that only watch YouTube. There is people who watching, national television, cable, and there is people still exist who reading newspapers and reading books. So there are three different demographic, and we always, like Ashton said, since 2020, we called we had meetings with every single network. But because it's never done before, and nobody talking, police not doing anything, they don't have resources, money, and time to concentrate on these scams. And everybody just it's never been done before. We didn't want to be a guinea pig. And Fox said you know what, enough is enough. We can do it, go make it.
Let's go.
Let's educate, and let's bring the justice. And it happened.
So, Ashton, I want to go back to something you said at the beginning of that answer, which is you said something you can control. However, in what you're doing now, you are confronting these scammers sometimes. How do you, that takes a certain amount of bravery too. These situations could quickly escalate and get out of hand. How do you kind of psych yourself up for that part a little bit? How do you avoid it ever going south quickly? And at the same time, I guess what I'm trying to say, like, where does that, have you developed like a passion for helping people? Because you have helped so many people.
Well, thank you. And we're only able to do it because of the people that support us, our YouTube viewers, our YouTube supporters, Fox for coming forward and giving us this show. We can't control the endings. We can't control what happens or who's on the other end of these scams. All we can control is what we decide to do about it as we're learning as we go. And because we have a background in content creation, we've always framed our videos to take the audience along the journey with us as we're learning it. So we're not just dropping a video to say, this is a scammer, 30 seconds of him scamming, goodbye. Like, we want to take people on the same nerve-wracking journey that we feel when we're learning about who's behind this and what we're going to do next. And we take a lot of precautions, of course. Now, with a network budget, we're able to do it a little bit more thoroughly.
We can have security.
We can have security. It didn't always start that way, but we've been risk takers from the beginning, and we call ourselves professionally unprofessional. This is uncharted territory, but we do it safely. We have each other's back, and we have supporters behind us that have enabled us to be able to do this at all. And so, thank our lucky stars, pray to your God, whatever it is, that we're still around and then we can still do this because it's important. It's important work.
I'll also just say that I'm not going to mess with you if I run into you on the street. I think that helps sometimes too.
Not at all.
I appreciate that, but I think that's the beauty of our partnership and friendship. We all bring different set of skills. And, I used to be a professional ex-athlete, and I love running, I love chasing, scammers and all these awesome stuff. But also, we got close calls. We went to Chicago, we knocked on the door, and, one of the drug dealer who were facilitating scam operations as well, opened the door with a gun and he's, inside of his belt. We got close call in Florida. And then we decided to shut down with Jim Browning and Mark Rober, big scam operation in India. We went undercover. We shut down 3 call center, tech support, Microsoft fake call centers. And we got spotted. Me being 6'5" and us 2 dudes in India, we got spotted on the street.
It may have been the cologne.
Maybe it's cologne, definitely. But it got to the point that
cologne.
Yeah.
We were in Telegram group with our undercover agents who work for us and for scammers. And they dropped pictures of us and they said, hey, Americans is here messing with our business, with our food, with our operations that have been secure for 30 years. Let's go to every single hotel, and if you find them, shoot them. So we got a couple close calls, but we're trying to look out after ourselves and do whatever it takes to be secure. And now having Fox, we got security finally. I don't have to do the security guard. We have police involved. We have arrests.
I mean, my eyes were just blowing up there thinking about that. And when you think about these stories and the victims that you work with, 2 final quick questions. How do you choose the stories to really go after? And 2, when you sit down with these victims and hear their stories, what is one thing that runs through the current of all of them that really that stands out to you when you're working with them?
That's a great questions. Yeah, I mean, choosing stories, it's difficult. I mean, we're blessed now with a lot of people that follow us, and now every story we cover in some way, shape, or form comes from a tip that a viewer has sent us, whether it happened to them or a family member or something. And so I wish we could help everybody, and hopefully this show and this new attention on this issue will only allow us to expand and help more people. As far as through lines, yeah, talking to victims is hard. It's honestly, for me, it's the hardest part. It's way harder than talking to scammers. It's heartbreaking, and I think the through line that I see every single time is the shame that comes with it and the stigma that people put on certain types of scams, where they say, well, you'd have to be stupid to fall for this. Well, that's a horrible thing to think, because first of all, you're not stupid for falling for a scam. These scams are professional manipulators. They're designed to affect the mentality of somebody in a certain stage of life or a certain emotional state. And also that stigma is preventing victims from wanting to tell anyone that it happened. And if no one tells anyone what happened, you're not going to raise awareness about how it happens, and it's just going to keep happening. So hopefully with this show and with the attention on it that we're able to bring, it's going to release that stigma and encourage more people to speak out about what happened to them. So we, as the people in front of the camera, can show you how it happened and prevent more people from falling for it.
And to be completely honest, now episode 5 going to be dropped tomorrow on Fox Nation. we created this movement that after first episode, when people saw this during World Series, right, Fox Sports commercial promoting this show, the amount of people that stepped forward, that approaching Ashton on the street, me on the street, not coming first and saying congratulations to the show, and the following question always is, either I got scammed or people that I love got scammed. I know somebody can you help? We created this hope that like FBI not doing anything, you know, like there is no responses from police reports. And all of a sudden they see this show that there is a justice, there is arrest, there is prosecution happening. People all of a sudden like, I want to tell my story. It's becoming like our inbox right now, public submissions of stories. We cannot find the bottom of that public submission, guys.
Wow.
It's unfortunate, but it's good that people can.
That's what I was going to say. It's unfortunate, but that hope that you guys are providing is, I mean, that is priceless in and of itself as you help get back their money, time, sense of security. Ashton and Art, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Live Zone Primetime. The next time you're in DC, make sure you guys stop by. We would love to have you.
Absolutely, boys. It's a pleasure.
Be awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And just a reminder, you can catch Art and Ashton and Scammed Getting Even. It is available now on Fox Nation and Fox One. New episode drops tomorrow. In the meantime, Tony and I are going to take a quick break. We're going to take you back out to the House floor. In the meantime, we'll be right back.
We signed the Working Families Tax Cuts into law this year. And this critical legislation included the single largest investment in rural health care in history. That's $50 billion for a rural health care transformation fund to reinvest federal savings directly into the communities that need it most. Expanding telehealth and recruiting and retaining rural health care workers. We're committed to ensuring telehealth remains an option for those living in rural communities. Telehealth provides expanded access to specialists, closes the distance between patients and providers, and gives families faster, more reliable care. And I have legislation, the Rural Physician Workforce Production Act, that would help bring more doctors to rural communities by giving rural hospitals the resources they need to train and retrain more physicians. I fought to strengthen our nation's drug supply chain by supporting domestic pharmaceutical manufacturing, including facilities like U.S. Antibiotics in Bristol, Tennessee, where we're proving that these life-saving antibiotics can and should be made right here in the United States and not halfway around the world. Mr. Speaker, these aren't abstract policy debates. They're about real people in real places. They're about the mom who drives an hour to find a pediatric specialist. They're about the veteran who can't get his prescription filled because his local pharmacy closed. They're about the nurse who works back-to-back shifts because there aren't enough hands to go around. And those stories are what drive my work every single day. And that's why I've joined my co-chair, Representative Takuda, in introducing a resolution to recognize November 20th, 2025 as National Rural Health Day. This resolution recognizes the challenges we face, but more importantly, it affirms our commitment to solving them. Thank you, Representative Takuda, for your continued commitment on working together to address the pressing healthcare issues facing our rural communities. We must fight for a healthcare system that serves patients, not big insurance companies, that values rural providers, not red tape, and ensures no community, no matter how small or remote, is left behind. To our doctors and our nurses, pharmacists, first responders who keep rural America healthy, we want to thank you. Your work saves lives.
All right, welcome back to the Live Zone Primetime. On this Tuesday night, you have just been listening to some of the House speakers on the floor. Late night for some lawmakers.
Yeah, well, they're making up for lost time after being for 43 days out of work and getting paid. So you know what? I have no problem with them working into the night, because a lot of us do that, and you know, there was no shutdown for us. So you know what? And again, a lot of workers were working and had to not get paid, and you know, so these folks who are passing legislation, take your time and work hard.
Yeah. All right. Well, it is now 9:52 on this Tuesday evening. Now, Tony P, we talk a little sports every now and then on this show.
We dabble in it.
We haven't talked a ton of basketball, admittedly, but Tuesday nights are now like coast to coast basketball night.
Right.
That's where they have like the double headers or whatever they are, which
They're
means
flooding it with it.
There is a basketball game that's just about to get started in about 37 minutes out on the West Coast. 10:30 p.m. Now, why is that significant? Why am I talking about it? Because the Lakers are playing. LeBron James will be playing. He has been sidelined up to this point.
That's right.
But the 40-year-old LeBron James will be suiting up for the Los Angeles Lakers against the Utah Jazz tonight, beginning his unprecedented 23rd season in the NBA.
For number 23.
I mentioned he's 40 years old. He has been sidelined since the start of training camp by sciatica, which has kept him out of the preseason and the Lakers' first 14 games of the regular season. LeBron James had never before missed a season opener in his basketball life. So, 23rd season, 40 years old, had never missed a season opener before until this year. But now he will be back on the court tonight. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea how the Lakers have been so far this season. I'm going to look it up as we speak.
How the Wizards been doing?
They are
is my
10-4.
Wow.
They are 10-4, so they haven't necessarily been playing poorly.
No, not at all. And Utah's
without
5-8.
him,
So this
it
should be
seems.
this
So
should
it
be a
good
win.
matchup.
Look at the percentages.
Tony asked me to look up the Washington Wizards.
Yeah, how they doing with the record?
Let's see.
Do we have the
Wizards,
answer?
Yeah, stand by. Let's go.
Google does that sometimes because they won't give you the full score. They won't give you the full
want us to
record.
know.
Like, give it to me. I want to know.
Let's go NBA Eastern Conference standings. Let's see. We had to scroll all the way down to 14th out of 15th teams. The Washington Wizards are currently 1-12 on the season. 1-12 on the season. As a percentage, that is .077%. If Dr. Seshire is watching, who was with us on Friday
George
night,
Mason.
That's some math.
And the math ain't mathing for this team.
No, they have, let's see,
God.
they are 10.5 games behind first place.
All right.
They are 0-9 in the conference. They are 0-6 at home, and they are 1-6 away. Now, this actually brings me back to a story that, not so much a story, but a social media post that I saw over the weekend, or Monday. I can't remember when. But I actually talked about it with Guy Lambert earlier today because he was at Sunday night's game, the Washington Wizards game. I saw a post yesterday that said the atmosphere at Capital One Arena for that Wizards game was one of the worst they had ever seen for a professional sporting event. The Washington Wizards, fans aren't showing up. We did a story not too long ago about a former player for the Washington Wizards. He's now on the Pelicans, and he had thrown a little shade at the team because he basically just said playing at Capital One Arena was so depressing because there were no fans, no one was cheering. But on the other hand, there's not much to cheer for.
It's true.
It's not much to cheer for.
I mean, my 500 prediction may not even be possible anymore.
Yes.
But look at who's below them, though. The Indiana Pacers.
The Indiana Pacers.
Who were
in the finals last
right,
year,
who were in the
weren't
finals
they?
last year. And now that they're basically the worst team in basketball.
Isn't it
how
funny
does that
how
happen?
Things happen like that?
I mean, the thing about looking at, let's talk about LeBron James first. Think about this for numbers. He's been in the NBA longer than half his life. He came into the NBA with less years in his life than he has played in the NBA. Do you know how rare that is?
I
And
remember.
he took all that risk coming out of high school, and he was all that pressure to be the best. We saw Kwame Brown here in D.C. when he was drafted number 1 out of high school. The phenom was going to be similar in that regard, and really had a solid career, but didn't pan out to be that top pick type of career, but still had a decent career. But LeBron James had all that hype and still made it and has done it consistently, all-star appearances for 20-plus years, and is an incredible force in the community. The I Promise school that he's built in Akron. He's won titles for his hometown. He's won titles in Miami, in L.A. I mean, this career you couldn't have written in Hollywood if you tried.
Yeah.
And
I just put
truly an incredible athlete.
Just to put you on the spot here, Tony P, because we love to make lists here on the Live Zone Prime Time. I put a couple names down there at the bottom. NBA GOAT, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, or other. I'm putting you on the spot. You go first.
This is tough. I mean, I look at it. Kobe, I think, is one of the greatest playoff basketball players of all time. I think if you were to have playoff basketball, it'd be MJ, Kobe, and then LeBron James. But overall, GOATness, I have to go with MJ because because the NBA was different. The defenses were a lot harder back in the 80s and 90s, especially with the bad boy Pistons you had. You had the Lakers of the late 80s as well. I think Michael Jordan had a harder defensive array to deal with than Kobe and LeBron had to deal with. So there's no shade at either one of them. They were incredible athletes. I just think the nature of defense in basketball is why I would give it to MJ, and the titles overall, of course, and just his records in the playoffs and an NBA title series. So
here's where I'm a little conflicted. Can you name anybody who played with? Okay, excluding his time with the Miami Heat, where he was surrounded by Dwayne Wade, at all. Otherwise, and I'm sure more knowledgeable NBA fans would say otherwise.
I'm not that
to me.
knowledgeable.
But, I mean, LeBron has carried a lot of the weight on his shoulders alone. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, and Coach Phil Jackson. Kobe had Coach Phil Jackson as well. He had Shaquille,
That's true.
And more. They say you need 3 great players to have a great NBA team. You need 3 players.
Yeah.
Again, I am no NBA expert.
You
We're
could
down
make
to
the
our
argument
final 30 seconds.
that Pippen
Weigh
didn't do
in
much
the
either.
YouTube chat.
He didn't do much after the
Scottie
Bills.
Pippen would disagree with you, Tony Pig.
Listen, he didn't do much. I mean, what, the Rockets for 2 years?
Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight for the Tuesday night episode, down to the final 10 seconds. That's Tony P. I'm producer Chris. Fox 5 News at 10. Coming up next, we'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow.
Can't wait.